There's a widespread feeling among the British people that they are now trapped in a flimsy, disintegrating boat on stormy seas with no captain.
Well, first of all, I mean, how naive, how stupid do these politicians think we are?
The British government is currently facing a constitutional crisis that would make even Shakespeare's political tragedies seem tame. In the next 15 minutes, I'll walk you through how the Chief Justice's bombshell ruling against Keir Starmer has left King Charles reportedly furious, Parliament in turmoil, and £22 billion of public money unaccounted for. I'll break down the legal implications of this unprecedented verdict, explain why members of Starmer's own party are now calling for his resignation, and analyze what this means for Britain's economic stability in the coming months. Whether you're a political junkie or just trying to understand why this matters, this is the comprehensive breakdown you've been searching for. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. In the hallowed chambers of Britain's highest court, a legal bombshell has detonated at the very heart of government. The Chief Justice's verdict against Prime Minister Keir Starmer isn't merely controversial, it's potentially system-shattering.
This is the unanimous judgment of all 11 justices.
When all 11 justices unanimously declare a Prime Minister's advice to the monarch unlawful, void, and of no effect, we're witnessing something extraordinary in British constitutional history.
Indication that the approach that we're taking to the economy, which is to stabilise it, to be strategic and long-term in our decision-making.
This isn't political theatre. It's a fundamental questioning of the Prime Minister's legal authority to perform his most basic duties. What makes this verdict particularly explosive is the constitutional tightrope it exposes. In Britain's carefully balanced system, the relationship between government and monarch serves as a sacred cornerstone. The Prime Minister advises, the monarch acts. But what happens when that advice is deemed illegal? The implications stretch far beyond typical political squabbles about policy or competence. This strikes at the very legitimacy of governmental authority. The legal grounds for this unprecedented ruling center on financial impropriety of staggering proportions. The Chief Justice specifically referenced the £22 billion in public funds that have seemingly vanished from government oversight. Let that sink in.
Well, first of all, I mean, how naive, how stupid do these politicians think we are? The
£22 billion of taxpayer money unaccounted for while Starmer sought royal approval for financial measures now deemed unlawful. This isn't creative accounting or budgetary disagreement. It's a black hole in Britain's financial management that the highest court in the land has now formally acknowledged.
An economy that's making us poorer and pushing us into managed decline. And this isn't just about the economy either. 170,000 more civil servants on the payroll than we did in 2016, all of whom, by the way, are being paid for by you, the British taxpayer.
At Buckingham Palace, the temperature has reportedly risen to boiling point. Sources close to the situation reveal King Charles is outraged by the ruling, and with good reason. The monarch, constitutionally obligated to remain above politics, now finds himself unwittingly entangled in what may prove to be one of Britain's most significant financial scandals. Charles's fury reportedly stems not just from being misled, but from the potential damage to the monarchy's reputation through association with these questionable financial dealings.
There's a widespread feeling among the British people that they are now trapped in a flimsy, disintegrating boat on stormy seas with no captain.
The constitutional implications are profound. Unlike previous political scandals centered on moral failings or policy disagreements, this ruling questions whether the government has been operating outside the law. When a prime minister seeks royal approval for measures later deemed unlawful, he effectively makes the monarch complicit in actions contrary to British law, a position no responsible advisor should ever place the crown in. Within the halls of Parliament, the aftershocks are already toppling political careers. Labour MPs, once loyal to Starmer's leadership, are now deserting in droves. The opposition smells blood. But perhaps more damaging is the civil war erupting within Labour itself. When your own party members question your fitness to lead, the political endgame approaches with alarming speed. What's particularly damning is how this single ruling has exposed systemic failures in government financial oversight. This isn't an isolated incident or a momentary lapse in judgment. It points to deeply entrenched problems in how Britain's finances are managed at the highest levels. The financial architecture, meant to protect public funds, has apparently failed spectacularly, and the responsibility ultimately lands at the Prime Minister's door. Public reaction has been swift and merciless. Demands for Starmer's resignation grow louder by the hour.
The left, and as a general rule, will ignore a crisis if they can't fix it by blaming somebody.
The social contract between government and governed depends on trust. Trust that taxpayer money will be handled with care and accountability. When £22 billion disappears and the highest court declares the Prime Minister's actions unlawful, that trust is shattered beyond easy repair. What truly distinguishes this crisis from garden-variety political scandals is how it intertwines constitutional principle, royal dignity, and public finance. It's the perfect storm of governance failure.
Struck by the fact that you said Labour is delivering higher living standards for the people of this country. In what way is that
Illegal advice to the monarch concerning unaccounted billions of taxpayer pounds. No spin doctor or media management strategy can easily navigate these treacherous waters.
Since we've been in power, we've brought in over £60 billion of investment from around the world.
It's that nobody in power really knows what they're doing anymore, that nobody's even bothering to listen to the forgotten majority.
For King Charles, the situation is particularly delicate. His reported fury comes from a position of constitutional vulnerability. A monarch who acts on the advice of ministers must be able to trust that such advice is lawful. When that trust is violated, it places the crown in an impossible position: either appear complicit in unlawful actions or publicly rebuke the government, neither of which aligns with the monarch's constitutional role. The unfolding drama raises profound questions about accountability in modern Britain. If a prime minister can advise the monarch to approve measures involving billions in public funds without proper oversight and face consequences only after a Supreme Court ruling, has the system of checks and balances fundamentally failed? The constitutional earthquake triggered by this ruling may force Britain to reconsider the safeguards protecting public finances.
Yesterday, the planning reforms that we've already brought in will make our economy bigger and will bring in more tax revenue, which is much needed.
Is that while the present is already worse than the past, the future looks set to be even worse.
And the monarchy from political misadventure. As Parliament grapples with these revelations, the question isn't just whether Starmer will survive politically. It's whether the current system of financial governance can continue without substantial reform. When the highest court unanimously declares a prime minister's actions unlawful in matters involving both the crown and public finances, the fractures in the system are too significant to ignore.
So what we're doing is, in answer to your question, securing our economy, taking the decisions that are necessary.
What we're witnessing isn't merely a legal hiccup, but a seismic fracture in the foundation of British democracy. The verdict has exposed how political expediency has gradually eroded accountability, creating a governance vacuum where £22 billion can simply vanish without explanation. The current political climate in the UK hangs by a thread. Public dissatisfaction with Starmer's government, compounded by economic challenges, and this constitutional bombshell has created unprecedented volatility in Westminster. You're watching history unfold in real time. Share your predictions about Britain's political future in the comments below, and subscribe for our continuing coverage as this constitutional crisis develops further.